Out healing the storm with infinite healing to crazy mobility this season and infinite shield regeneration. Here are some of the strategies that you need to know for Fortnite competitive this season. Let's start talking about the 5 medallions that are spread across the map. These are the society medallions, and they're probably the most overpowered thing that has come out in this new chapter. You can get these society medallions from the 5 different vault POIs on the map, and they all get dropped by the bosses that you have to eliminate at these specific POIs. Now, if you have one of these medallions, you gain 3 shield per second. If you have 2 of them, you get 4 shield per second. If you get 3 of them, then you get 5 shield per second. If you have 4 of these medallions, then you end up getting 6 shield per second. And if you have all 5 of them, you end up getting 8 shield per second. Now, the value of these medallions cannot be understated. As you can see, they're basically infinite slurp juices that you're running around with. The only negative part about it is that you are visible to everyone around the map. However, more than likely, and the ways that games have been playing out so far, people use these markers to avoid you. So instead of getting W keyed by people, they run away from you because they know how powerful those medallions are, so keep that in mind when picking them up. The new map has also got the addition of the trains, which you can now see on the map as you glide in. A viable strategy is legitimately landing on the train because it provides you with weapons off the rip you can get from these little boxes around the train. There's 4 of them in total. They can have shield in them as well as alongside weapons, and they give you a little bit of materials. After that, you can hack the chest. Now, this takes around 50 seconds in order to get hacked, and after the 50 seconds are over, then you unlock the train and then you claim it. Now, the train in solos gives you 200 metal, and in duos it gives you 400 metal in total with 1 set of shield as well. But the most interesting part comes now when you enter a train station. Now, when a train goes past a train station, there's a lot of them all around the map, something incredible happens. The train resets. All of a sudden, all of that loot that you just got off spawn resets. You can now re-hack the train once again, and you can get that shield and that loot infinitely all over again. So is this a viable strategy for solos? Maybe, but if you ever need loot in the mid-game, this is the place to get it. Within the movement changes as well, every single wall that you place has these little wooden things on them that you can infinitely mantle to sky with. Now, what is interesting though, and I've seen a lot of people try to do this, is that you don't have to flick the mantle. You can just hold spacebar and you fly up infinitely. Just be careful that you don't let go like I did here. Oops. One of the most underrated additions to the season are the Riot shields. Now, they have a lot of utility and they provide you a lot of cover on rotate. You can sprint, bash with them, and basically destroy anything in your path, including enemies. When you slide with it though, you gotta be careful not to be too exposed. So slide looking slightly to the right so that it covers your entire body. Now, alongside that, you can shoot bash into wooden walls, and it one-shots every wall because there's 150 damage to structures, but it doesn't obviously break through brick walls or metal walls. So you're gonna have to pre-fire shoot, get the wall low in order to shoot bash in. There's a lot of utility to this. You can catch enemies by surprise. You can almost guaranteed phase into every single box and try to get the elimination on low HP opponents. Now, one of the most important changes to this season is the way that healing works, specifically with big pots and medkits. They now heal progressively. As you can see here, a big pot pops up and you heal as you pop the big pot. There's an initial cooldown time and you can run around and jump as this all happens, but it goes up by 4s, and then 6s, and then finally 8s in the final few seconds in order to get you to full HP. Now, medkits work the same, however, they start off a lot slower. They start off healing for 2s, and then 4s, and then 6s, and then finally to the 8s. So the initial time of healing with the medkit isn't going to be 10 ticks per second. It's more like 4 to 6 until it becomes 16 per second at one point. Now, this is very important for another strategy we're about to show you. I'm sure you've seen the movement changes all around the game, and the movement, as you can see here on the screen, is a little bit weird. It's a little bit funky. Now, the movement is intentional, and it is probably not going to be changed unless we have some big changes happening to only at Epic Games, but there are some settings that can help you out a little bit more courtesy of resub. Now, you want to put your forward diagonal angle at about 60, your strafe angle at 71, and your backwards diagonal angle at about 135, and that pretty much makes it better. The map also has a bunch of mobility added to it, more specifically around the mountains, but you can find launch pads scattered around the island. Now, a normal launch pad takes you around 140 to 150 meters away, depending on how far you're able to get there, but with the use of these new bump berries, they give you 10 shield and the splash effect for your duo, plus they give you further mobility. As you saw, a bump fruit plus a launch pad or a shockwave, and you have infinite mobility, basically gliding around the map. You basically just triple the amount of distance you can get with just eating that bump fruit, and that is the way to rotate if you're landing, especially on edge map. As you can see here, the distance is insane. With the return of Chapter 5, we also have the return of mid-game objectives. We have forecast towers, caches, and also the floating island making a return. Now, these are super important because they give you points in tournaments. Now, the forecast towers have been nerfed by a lot. You don't get slurp juices anymore. The bots are basically one-shottable. They are very easy to get, but these are so crucial because you still get the forecast with the tower. Now, you can just get the card, put the forecast in, and you can essentially see every single zone for the end of the game, plus 3 points in a tournament that you will receive for capturing a forecast tower as well. Makes these a must to fight for in the mid game. Now, the second thing, and that has been changed, are the caches. Now, caches do spawn as normal. However, they don't spawn in gold, purple rarities anymore. They instantly spawn in as blue. Now, they have the same capture time. It takes around 60 seconds for you to capture a cache. And at the end of it, you get medal and a weapon, and you get shield. Now, this is in duos. As you can see, the loot is doubled here. But you see, you get big pots, minis, and a medkit here. And then 4 different weapons, all in blue rarity, because the cache is now blue instead of purple, gold, or any other rarities in the game. The last but not least is the floating islands or the rift islands, and these are the most important to fight for because they give you 15 points in a tournament. This is also in solos alongside duos, so you have to fight for these floating islands. At the end of the normal capture time, as usual, you don't get slurp juices anymore, you don't get any of that crazy loot, but you do get better weapons than you can in a cache. For example, here you see I got a golden assault rifle and then a purple shotgun, so you do get purple and gold rarity weapons and the essential healing stop off that you need. Now, back to what we were talking about before with the medkit changes. Now, the medkit heals progressively, right? So now you can actually out heal a 10 tick. As you can see here in the clip, we entered the zone fully on a 10 tick and we are out healing the storm. Now, you need to be careful because the zones do 10 damage per second and the medkit doesn't heal 10 damage per second at the start. So you need to have at least 30 to 40 HP initially in order to execute this strategy. But if it is executed perfectly, then you can pop 6 medkits with no issue and then get towards a storm sickness heal off. So essentially, you have 60 seconds of heal off that you can do. Basically, the final move in zone, farm places with 6 medkits, and that is probably the most broken meta this season that every single pro will be using.